Hey everybody, and thanks for joining me again today to make this awesome cooking video. I am super excited about it because this is one of my favorite dishes that I've ever eaten or made. This is a recipe that I got from my husband, who is a professional chef, and he actually got it and adapted it from one of his first sous chefs that he ever worked for. So it is shrimp scampi, as you could tell by the title. These are the ingredients that you're going to need, just the basics, like salt and pepper and flour are not included in this, but all the major components are included. So we have parsley, and you'll need one bunch of parsley. You'll need shrimp. I have about 20 shrimp, which just means that there are 16 to 20 shrimp in a pound. They are fairly large. When you buy them at the store, they'll be the extra large. I don't have a problem with frozen shrimp. I do live in Tennessee, and this far inland it is really hard to get fresh shrimp, so I just normally go with the frozen. There's not a problem as long as they don't look like they've been freezer burned or there's not a ton of ice crystals inside the bag. So that's usually an indicator that something has gone wrong in the transportation process, and you want to steer clear of those. But otherwise, you guys should be fine. We do also need 2 lemons and a pasta of your choosing. I chose thin spaghetti because that's my favorite, and I do feel like it adheres to the sauce really well, but you can use pretty much anything that you want or have on hand. 4 cloves of garlic. This might seem like a lot, but I promise you'll see where we're going with this. You need 2 sticks of butter. You can use regular butter. I have 1 stick of regular salted butter, and I also have 1 stick of this Kerrygold garlic herb butter that I had gotten and need to use up. It is fantastic, and I really just didn't want to let it go to waste, so I thought I would throw this in here. It's not really traditionally what we use. We normally just use plain butter, and we add plenty of stuff to it, but this will not hurt. It does not hurt to add extra flavor to anything. So then we have a box of Chardonnay, and I know you're going to be like, a box, really? But I did get this. I don't drink a lot of white wine. I did get this at Walmart, and it was around $5. I don't use cooking wine because that is literally disgusting. It is the bottom of the barrel. That you want to keep cooking wine as far away from your food as possible. If you need it to sanitize a wound, I mean, maybe, but I would just stay clear of cooking wine. That stuff is terrible, and there's a reason that there's not an age limit to buy cooking wine, because no one would ever drink it. Of course, this wine is not the best, but like I said, I don't drink a lot of white wine, so I really just went with the cheapest little box that I could find. I think this is about 3 glasses worth. This is a Chardonnay. You can go with a Pinot Grigio or any other white wine, a Sauvignon Blanc. Anything would work. But this is just what my store had, so that's what I got. I don't live near any really nice grocery stores like Whole Foods or Fresh Market, so I pretty much have to be at the mercy of whatever my Walmart happens to carry. So without further ado, let's get on to the actual cooking process. You're going to start with your 4 whole cloves of garlic and peel them, and that is an absolute pain in the ass, and I just saved you that headache and went ahead and peeled them off camera because I literally do not have that much phone battery at a full charge to show me peeling all that and then chopping it all for you. So I just went straight into the mincing of the garlic. You do want to get a good mince on this garlic. You can buy the jar of pre-minced something or another garlic substance. I don't care for it because I really feel like it has a different texture. I'm not sure exactly what they put in the brine that they have in that jar, but that garlic, no matter how long I saute it, never seems to soften for me. So I really just skip that altogether. You can at some stores find bags of whole peeled garlic, which will save you a lot of time. And you can find garlic paste, but the paste is not going to give you the texture that you're looking for. I do like the paste for other recipes where you don't actually need the texture of the whole garlic. But if you're a garlic fan, and you obviously need to be to want to make this recipe, you're going to want that texture, that kind of bite into that sauteed garlic. Mincing all of this all together took me about 6 minutes. This is the most labor-intensive process of the whole recipe. It really does take a lot of time, but it is worth it in the end to get that good fresh minced garlic flavor. Like I said, it does take a while, but you're going to be happy with the results when you get it. So you've got your giant pile of garlic here. You're going to want to go ahead and get your pasta water boiling at this point. You want to salt it nice and heavy so that it imparts flavor into your pasta. This is the only chance that you will get to add flavor to your pasta. In the meantime, we're going to chop the parsley. And I've got a whole bunch of parsley. I'm going to just kind of go down the stem and start chopping and mincing the parsley. This does not take nearly as long as the garlic. So we're just going to get in and just again chopping this parsley. It took me about 1.5 minutes, and please excuse the shaky camera work because I do not have the best filming setup. So this is what the hand that I'm dealt at this point in my life. So once you get all your parsley chopped up, you're going to move on to your lemons. You do need 2 large lemons, and I'm going to go ahead and cut those and then put my pasta in my water because it is boiling now. So I've got enough pasta for 2 people, 2 relatively moderate portions, not a ton either way. We don't eat just a ton of pasta. We're mostly here for the shrimp, so that's what I'm going to focus on. The pasta is really just a vessel for the rest of the sauce. So I'm going to squeeze all my lemons into this bowl, and these produce quite a lot of juice. I would say somewhere around 1/2 to 3/4 of a cup total. They, it's subjective. The amount of lemon juice is not really like a set amount. You kind of just go with how it feels. I've got my wine, and I'm going to go ahead and measure out a cup. If you've made gravy and you've used a roux, that's basically what we're doing here, but we're doing kind of a little bit of a different method. We're going to start with some all-purpose flour and get a nice big bowl so you can toss your shrimp in there. And then I'm going to use some Old Bay. This is an Old Bay variation that I picked up when I was in New Orleans, and it's not technically branded Old Bay, but it's basically like a homemade version of that. So I used a kind of a heaping tablespoon, and then I'm going to add my kosher salt, and I'm going to use about a tablespoon of salt as well. The salt is really important. Once again, salt does not make foods taste salty. It makes foods taste like themselves. I'm also going to add some freshly ground black pepper, and there is no substitution for freshly ground black pepper. The stuff that's pre-ground at the store just doesn't taste the same. So go ahead and get that all mixed up. And use a whisk like a professional. And once your flour is nicely blended, we're going to go ahead and throw in our shrimp. So I tossed my shrimp off camera, and now I've got my cast iron skillet heating up over here on the burner. And I'm going to throw my butter in. So we're just going to go ahead and put both sticks of butter in. I probably could have been moderate and done a stick and a half, but this is the South and this is cooking, so why just do a stick and a half? I am showing you guys this part in real time because I want you to see just really how long this takes. It's a very quick process once you get to this point. The most labor intensive part, the longest part, is just the prep. It's just the chopping the garlic and the parsley and getting your shrimp ready. If your shrimp didn't come peeled and deveined, then you've got to do that. I'm so sorry you can see my bare feet in the background, but I mean, I'm in my own kitchen, so why do I have to wear shoes? I'm letting my butter get good and melty in the pan, and I'm at this point off camera. I'm testing my pasta to make sure it's done cooking, and I'm about to go ahead and drain that. I do want to note that shrimp scampi is not an actual Italian dish. I think a lot of people call it Italian or think it might be Italian food, and it's really not. There's nothing authentically Italian about it, so there's no real authentic way to make shrimp scampi. The way that we make it is a little bit different than probably what you're used to if you eat it out somewhere. Normally in the past when I've had shrimp scampi, it's just shrimp in some type of garlic butter, and if that's what you're about, then that's fine. But I love a good hearty sauce that will stick to the shrimp and stick to the pasta and really just give me something to really feel like I'm eating a meal, you know. I'm gonna get this butter broken up so that I can get it melted a little bit faster. Once again, this part is in real time because it kind of goes very fast at this point. After your butter gets melted, it only takes a couple minutes total to get this done. The first time that my husband made me this recipe, I think that was the day that I knew I was going to marry him, because it is literally that good. Mine will never be as good as his. His is fantastic, but you just have to trust me that when you make this, it will be worth all the labor. It will be worth all the time that you've spent. No fear, my butter is not burning. I don't know why. It's kind of steaming, but it's not burning, I promise. I'm just going to give that a quick stir and make sure that everything is melted. And then I'm going to throw in our massive mound of minced garlic. You do want to make sure that your butter has a nice simmer going, because that's going to ensure that your garlic gets cooked. You really don't want to boil it in the butter. You want to saute it. So you're going to put all that garlic in there. And my husband will put his garlic in for about 30 seconds and just kind of let it cook ever so slightly. He likes his garlic a little less done than I do mine, so I like to cook mine a little bit longer. So I'm going to just sit here and stir it and get my garlic kind of softened and make sure that it's not sticking to the bottom, which obviously it's not going to because there's a ton of butter in here. But you're basically just going to watch me stirring ingredients for the next 4.5 minutes. I like to, like I said, let my garlic saute for a little while, and in this cast iron skillet I really don't have to worry about it burning. So I'm just going to stir it pretty frequently until I decide that I'm close enough to throw my shrimp in. And you guys can serve this with a salad. You can serve the shrimp by itself with roasted potatoes and fresh green beans, or You can serve it just in a bowl, maybe as an appetizer. I mean, you can do all kinds of things with this recipe. It doesn't just have to be over pasta. You really can just make it your own. You can always just serve it with some bread and eat that garlic butter sauce on top of some toasted bread with some shrimp. I mean, it's so delicious, and you will have some sauce left over, but you'll see what we're going to do with that. Once again, I am cooking my garlic longer, but I think you'll see in the end that it's worth it. So I'm going to get my shrimp now, and my husband has decided to come in and tell me that I need to hurry up and get my shrimp in the sauce. So I'm kind of like, oh crap, I have to hurry up. You know, I've got an actual chef watching me. So I'm gonna just toss that shrimp in there. So the shrimp is coated with the flour, and like I said earlier, if you've made a roux, you know what we're doing here. That flour is going to help thicken up that sauce and make it adhere to the shrimp. You can already see that garlic just starting to coat the shrimp. And once your shrimp get good and tossed in that butter, you're going to want to go ahead and throw in your lemon juice and your white wine. I put in all of the lemon juice in the white wine that I measured out. You don't have to. If you want your sauce to be thicker, don't add as much white wine, don't add as much lemon. But if you want your sauce to be thinner, if you want it to spread on the plate more, then go ahead and add all of the white wine and all of the lemon juice. But since we are serving it with pasta, I did want it to be a little bit thinner, so I added more liquid to it. Just go ahead and make sure that your shrimp aren't sticking together. You want to make sure that each shrimp is pretty well coated in the sauce. So I threw in my white wine. And the good thing about this sauce is that it is buttery, it's acidic, it's garlicky, it's salty, it's delicious. If you season your flour enough, then you really don't have to worry about adding extra salt to the butter sauce because your shrimp's going to be seasoned well. You can always add more if you like things saltier. Actually, I kind of wish after I tasted it that I had added maybe just a couple teaspoons of salt to the butter. That's just my personal preference because I do salt with a heavy hand. And that comes from a few years of cooking because you realize that you can't taste your food after a certain point, and so you add more salt and add more salt. So at this point, my shrimp is done, and I am going to pull it off of the heat. Hopefully soon. Don't overcook your shrimp. Seriously, like, err on the side of caution and undercook that shrimp a little bit if you have to, because overcooked shrimp is just a nightmare and nobody wants that. Mine actually almost verged on overcooked, but I saved them. They were still pretty good. So you add your parsley. Your parsley is going to thicken your sauce even more, so don't worry if your sauce still seems kind of loose. That parsley just adds another level of acid to the sauce and a very fresh green herby flavor. So here I've got my shrimp on my pasta, and my wonderful husband is saucing it for me while I get that good action shot, y'all. This sauce is killer, and it's going to absolutely make your whole day. Thank you guys for watching. I really appreciate you tuning in, and just stick around and keep watching and look for more recipes soon. Be sure and like this video and subscribe if you really like my content, so I'll know that you guys want me to keep making it. Thanks again, and I hope you enjoy.